What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor.
My name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
And I'm Macho Matt.
And we're back, folks. Dude, just like that, the first month of the year is almost entirely gone.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Look at it go. Have you guys been productive?
Oh, yeah.
Just running the printer.
Nice.
Yeah.
3D
gearing up for some assembly.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. Some Hercu-assembly, if you will.
Yeah, it's decided recently it's going to be cold only on the weekends, which is pretty inconvenient for me for building rockets in my current situation.
That does work out quite unfortunately. I can see how that's
tough.
A problem.
Can't wait to have a big heated garage again. Or I guess I'm going to have a basement workshop at the new house, but
That'll be
anyways.
nice.
Ooh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that
crazy.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for June because then I get to flip the calendar to the Arcus pictures.
Wow.
For those unaware, our Arcus is in Photos by Nadine calendar for the month of June. So if you don't have one, check it out. Photosbynadine.com, I think, right? I don't know, but
Yeah, it should be. Something
Okay,
like that.
well,
Google
yeah.
it, probably.
it's one of those things that you got to buy it early in the year because it's like the value of having it is depleting as the year goes on. So
Yeah,
don't
calendars
wait.
should go on discount, like as the year goes on.
Yeah, I guess that,
Imagine if you could pick calendars up in December for 90% off. That'd be sick.
yeah, just so you have the pretty pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be a
I mean, I'm
great
kinda
white
here for
elephant
it.
gift.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, I guess we should talk about the topic at hand, huh?
No.
Somebody wanted to have us address like our failures in rocketry, and I was like, well, we already did that. So I decided to go back and look when it was, and it was episode number 6 of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast.
Wow.
And it was just me and Taylor. So for reference,
swear-
right now we're recording the 125th episode.
Oh my God. I swear we've done our failures like 5 times, but
Didn't we do
That's what
another?
I
Because
thought,
I know
too.
I was there for one.
I don't know. Maybe you imagined it, but I do remember that you weren't there for the first one because you're like, I haven't had any failures. Good for you.
Maybe we just talked about it on
Well,
a live stream.
That's probably what happened.
That could be. Yeah, there's a good
Uh,
chance of that.
And then Matt wasn't there because he just didn't care about the podcast at first. But
I
now
was
he
just-
likes all of you. He didn't at first. He
Ye-
told me that he hated everyone.
it's because we made him into a meme because he was never around, and then he liked the attention, so he started coming
Yeah.
around.
I got
Yeah.
sucked in, that's for sure.
Well,
Thanks,
you're here
everybody.
now. So I think what we're going to
For
do
now.
is mostly just cover our worst failures in rocketry. And if you want to go catch up with the old episode, Matt, maybe you could tap in on a few if they come to mind. But just a review for the old episode, Taylor and I talked about how we both had ARV Condors that we lost the gliders on or destroyed them. We both had ballistic flights because we clogged the touch hole on the delay with grease. Taylor shredded his 3-inch corkscrew twice. I forgot an O-ring and destroyed my Mad Cow Mozzie with a Cosden motor. And we both destroyed Polecat 5.5-inch Nike smokes. So
Yeah, that sounds about right.
it's
Pretty
really
solid.
bizarre that we we kind of had like the exact same experience down to like destroying things in the same way as rocketry children. Works out
Yeah.
great. Here we are.
Just use everything we got to get a Polecat Nike smoke, and then just destroy it.
Exactly. All right. Well, you can go check that out. It's episode number 6. The audio quality is probably not phenomenal. And the talking quality is probably not phenomenal, but it's there and it's on Buzzsprout and you can find it on that one's old enough. It's gonna be on the Rocket Vlogs YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about our worst failures in particular. And then we got a lot of input from everyone over on the Discord and Patreon?
No, I've only broken fins.
Wow.
That's
That's still
It's
that's
coming.
still a failure.
Yeah, it is.
I
Postart,
mean,
you
like,
loser.
well, relatively speaking, it's not great, but it's
I
still
fixed
technically a failure.
50% of them though.
Braden only fixes like 5% of his.
Yep.
0 so far, as I can recall.
You've never repaired any broken fins?
Not in recent history that I can remember now.
Dang.
Oh, I guess I
We're-
fixed the fin on the 4-inch Punisher after the nose cone cracked it open, which actually is going to be notably my worst failure. But why don't we send it over to Matt and you can go
Yeah.
ahead and tell us what we got going on.
Okay, wait. Do you want me to just like spitball a bunch of failures that I've had in rocketry?
Not
Yeah,
really
let us-
spitball, just tell us what they are.
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna form some spit here and give you guys the lowdown on my failures. All right. So I think probably my first failure was, I remember on the Screaming Eagle, I forgot to connect the quick link from the upper section to the booster section, and this guy got this awesome picture of the rocket, basically totally split. And luckily, the upper section ended up being light enough that when it came down, it didn't totally destroy itself. But I'm trying to remember. Well, yeah, and then the lower section came down undershoot, which was nice. I'm trying to think how that works, but anyway, that was one of them. Another one, I let Taylor decided to pack the chute for my Magnum at a park fly, and we got a pretty awesome video of it going up, and then the parachute not opening up, and then it comes in ballistic and breaks a fin.
Doesn't come in ballistic. It
Okay,
just- the parachute
something
was
like
more
that.
like a streamer.
Oh, it's separated.
Okay, I guess
Yeah.
it did separate. Yeah,
Dude, that honestly, sorry to cut you off, Matt. One
You're
of my biggest pet peeves is people not understanding the term ballistic, at least how it's used in high powered rocketry. They're like, okay, west side of the flight line, we got a rocket coming in ballistic. Sets a way worse tone than coming out to find an S's rocket with a like tangled parachute.
yeah. with the
Please
tangled
stop
shooters.
using that term unless it's a rocket coming in like full terminal velocity.
That's true.
Also,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe this is for next episode, but just let the thing hit me.
Oh.
All right, yeah, we're gonna have to revisit that one. Tune in next week to hear Taylor's thoughts on that. That's interesting.
Wow. Just let it
But put that one in the back pocket.
That's cool.
If you're wondering where that goes, come
Yeah.
back next week.
All right, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think there have been a few cases of like what you guys were saying with the touch hold not being either. I remember one of them. I had my Intimidator. That's my most recent failure I can think of. Basically, I learned the hard way that you need to put dog barf at the top of the charge well if you're doing motor ejection, because at apogee or at motor burnout, some of the charge can go up into the paper tape or the tape and not actually become ignited and deploy the parachute. So that I think is what happened that's what happened to my Intimidator a couple times ago, and that came in ballistic because it didn't deploy the parachute at all, and I had to try to dig it out of the ground, which was fun.
You
What
can
else have I
actually
done?
see that action in real time in the Airfest video. Was it Airfest or Cloudburst?
It was Airfest.
Cloudburst,
I remember
yeah.
being hot. Oh wait, what was Cloudburst?
It was Cloudburst
Oh,
because I wasn't
it
there.
was no. Yeah, it was Cloudburst. And then
I guess
that's
so.
that's all the failures I have. Nothing else.
Have you?
Really?
What? All right, saving the best for last. There was this one time I had a 4-inch Demon and I was having fun and flying it and stuff, and then I got kind of lazy and decided to not change some 9-volt batteries in the eBay and borrowed a friend's case. And anyway, it came in ballistic somewhere, and it's in the ground, and that's
Never
probably
even
the
found
worst.
it.
Never
What
found
kind
it
of
yet.
what kind of case was it?
Something like a 75, 38, 40, 56, 23.
We enjoyed you so shortly. Here's your 40.
See something like
Yeah,
that.
We'll miss you so
We haven't heard that
much.
one in a long time.
We enjoyed you so shortly.
Well, it's good. That means it's been in the past long enough where it needs to be. Where it needs to be.
Where it needs to be is crazy, dude.
Is in the past.
That seems a
Just knock
little
everything off of the desk.
Yeah, get it, Nigel. Clean house.
doing classic cat
Just
stuff.
dumping my camera on the ground. Might as well.
Oh, you
It's
don't need
not like
that.
it's getting used.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
like your
say.
stuff's in my sitting area. What's up with that?
Just his tail doing the big sweep.
That's awesome.
Like, man, it'd be nice if there's some more room here.
Shout out Nigel the Rocket Cat, of course.
It hasn't been on a podcast in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Oh, someone
there's
actually
the tail.
requested
Wow.
that. I posted a few spots asking if people listen and what they would like us to change or improve on, or episode recommendations and all that. So if you have any of those, please send us an email to contact@aggpodcast.com.
What? Someone said they wanted more Nigel?
Yeah, someone said they wanted more Nigel.
Dang. You hear that, Nigel?
Wow.
He's already out of here. He's like, yeah,
He's
I
getting
heard
some
that.
food.
That's why
He's
I
getting some
left.
food.
Oh,
He's
nice.
reloading.
To clean up the other side of the desk.
Okay, Taylor. So since we recorded that episode 2 years ago, do you have any new failures? And for the people, will you recount what you think is your biggest failure? And they can then reference the old episode to see if you had the same thought.
I don't know that I've had any more. I mean, I've had a couple broken fins that I've repaired. I had a big zipper on the big Sumo that I repaired.
What about your mini
To me, a failure is like my rocket's done.
Hmm.
I in that episode, the first episode, I'm guessing I mentioned my 7680 cases going in the ground.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those were on there.
Plural.
Right.
Yeah, so for people unaware, I shredded a minimum diameter rocket that I had flown successfully 3 times on the same combo because it melted the paint off every time, and then I sanded. I would repaint it each time for basically no reason, and then I just sanded too far and it got into the glass, and then it folded on the way up, and then came in ballistic.
It's worth noting this was a tube you made yourself, correct?
Yes, a hand rolled tube that was just. It needed all of the layers for it to work. It was only 5 layers.
I was gonna say you made it pretty thin, if I recall.
Yeah. But I just like to point out, I did not just straight up shred a rocket on M685. I had flown before.
But it's interesting. It must have been like pretty long, right? Because I feel like even if it started getting into the glass layers, if it's where the case was, well, I guess if it unwound, like peeled it enough, it would be a problem.
It was over. So it was basically the motor case and then a coupler glued in, like up against the case on top of it. And then I had nose cone and then just enough tube for the nose cone coupler to go in, and then that to slide over the booster coupler. Because I hadn't quite figured out how to get everything packed in tight enough yet to just have the nose cone go directly on it. Or at least I didn't feel comfortable. Because it was 2014. So
that's some OG M685 flying.
Yeah, at the time I hadn't even ever seen someone or really heard of anyone flying one. I was like, will this even get mailed to me? I think it just showed up on the BMS website or something. But
Wow, you're old.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, and then I built a new minimum diameter rocket with off the shelf tube on an M1850, and that's when I met Braden at LDRS, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was LDRS 38. Our first
And,
bonding experience.
Yeah, I said, man, I went with a smaller shot cord. Does this seem too small? And you're like, it'll probably be fine. It wasn't really. I don't
Yeah,
think.
I was like, well, it's like 800-pound load test, right? How could that go wrong? It was like 1/8-inch Kevlar, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed like it. I don't know. Seemed like it would be fine.
That's what I
It
thought.
wasn't really. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I remember.
I found just the tracker like 2.5 miles away with a little bit of Kevlar hair on it.
Yeah.
So I am guessing it just straight snapped the shot cord, and the tracker survived though. So
Do you think it deployed early? For it still to be 2.5 miles away, it didn't take off crooked or anything. It must have been.
well, it
at
did
the
take
top.
off a little crooked.
Yeah, I get. It probably just was like horizontal velocity at apogee, though. It just was like
Yeah, it was probably going real fast. So it's
snip.
possible the shot cord could have held up, maybe. But that one I also did head in deploy, which so if I just put a leader on it, I don't think I did. So it probably just cut it, against the tube.
Yeah, well, you will run into that on these big jobs.
Really?
And then
I
what
had a-
happened to your third 7680 case?
I put a M3700 in it with a spacer, and then it just detonated on the pad. Brand new
Which-
case too, never been used.
It says on the CTI M3700 that it's for the 6 grain or for the 7680 Aerotech case.
It did say that, yeah.
So putting the weird 0.7 grain spacer in it seems a little off-putting, but it does say it on the package. So
There's really no reason it shouldn't work, but I don't know. I have seen multiple M3700s just sometimes they just blow up. I don't know.
well, it does happen. Dude, the LDRS incident though is like one of my favorite things when people are like off put by an RDF tracker. They're like, well, how reliable could that be? I'm like, well, my friend Taylor found one that was like coin cell sized from 30,000 feet, 2.5 miles away, and it was by itself. So I don't know,
Yeah, it's
man.
hard to argue with that. It's anytime I've found just the tracker, which has only been twice, I think, but it just feels impossible.
Wait, what was the other time?
I was there for that one. Wasn't it? It was after.
No, I don't think you
It was-
were.
Matt,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were there
one of
for
them-
you were there for
I
the
was there
LDRS 38 one.
Yeah, you were there because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to show you how to track a rocket, and then we
Oh,
found
that
just
was
the
that.
transmitter. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, we should stop saying that to Matt because there's a clip when I lost my K300 rocket too, where we're like, all right, we're teaching Matt how to track rockets. We both sent him on a wild goose chase, dude.
Dude, yeah, that's
every
awesome.
time- well, I think he kind of has it figured out now.
I do.
What were we talking about?
Or you losing trackers?
Oh, the other time was with Sam, and I, her first time at a rocket launch, and I also said, "I'll show you how to track a rocket."
Don't
And what
worry,
was funny
sweetheart,
is-
I got this.
What's funny is it was a rocket that went like 2,000 feet, so like you could see the whole thing. It landed really close, but then I was just kind of put it in there just because, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'll show you how to do this," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, it's really not working," and it
What's
it
funny
tore
is
the,
Oh,
it
go
tore
ahead,
the
sorry.
antenna off for one on a really
Oof.
not aggressive flight. And then
Yeah.
not only that, but it's separated from the rocket somehow. So it was a really violent deployment somehow, and I found just the transmitter with no antenna.
Whoa, dang.
What was it? The flight.
I think it was the 2-inch Thor on a H410 VMAX.
Shane and I have both actually found just trackers, and in both of our cases, they were in rockets that did not belong to us.
Yeah. Mine was even. Oop, go ahead.
Mine was at LDRS in Wisconsin when Wilson shredded that paper rocket with a K-1440.
That was such a hard shred.
I don't know why I was like, yeah, put my tracker in there. That doesn't look like it's going to just come apart and turn into confetti.
Bryce.
And that's the one that he spent like 2 hours sanding something to fit.
Yeah,
no. That was the bigger rocket.
Oh yeah, with the like $600 fillets on it.
Yeah.
Ooh, dang.
He used E120 HP for a 5.5-inch fiberglass rocket. I was like, what? You had to use like 15
God.
too?
With like big fillets. Crazy.
Man's flexing on all of us.
Bryce had borrowed mine for a really high impulse fast burn 54 that he was flying at FAR, and it was in a bunch of pieces afterwards, and found just the tracker underneath one of the storage containers out at FAR.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is
what
Bryce
kind of
Gano
tracker?
for reference.
It was one of the LL bird trackers.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wasn't it also antennaless?
It was. The antenna came off on that flight.
Mine was broken after Wilson's, but it landed like half a mile away, or like not even half a mile. Half of a quarter of a mile. If only there was a fraction to describe that.
The tracker was like probably 40 feet from the pad it took off from, if you can call it that. Blew
right,
up on
yeah,
more.
And if
put better.
You maybe could hear the context of the air quotes that Shane just used, but for reference, he's talking about Bryce Gano, not Bryce Chanis. Bryce Gano is the person who also recently had a high impulse L motor, turned my tower into a bunch of fun bendy shapes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 2 for 2 on borrowing our stuff for a really fast motor and blowing it up. It's pretty cool. Okay, well.
Cool.
My worst failure to date, I still think I did have a new one. Well, a couple actually. The 3-inch Punisher on the old K1275, taught me maybe check rail buttons. Especially if the rocket is flown like a lot on really fast, hard hitting motors. So, rip the rail button out of the back when it chuffed and launched directly into the rocket next to it, and then hit the ground at like 500 miles an hour and detonated what was left of the motor. That Dr. Rocket case was awfully bendy, if you'll recall. And then not too long after that, I took my brand new RV Punisher, the first one, to Argonia, and it was seemingly, based on the data, coming in ballistic until the main charge fired, and then ripped the shock cord out of the fin can, and the fin can presumably is like 10 feet underground because nobody has stumbled on it still, even though it tried to open the main. Well, it opened. The chute was out when somebody found the electronics bay. And it did have a Blue Jay in there, so I don't know. But it also had an Easy Mini, so I don't really know what happened. But the data sure looks like it. Like the down is pretty much the exact same shape as the up, and then right at the end, there's a real sharp flat spot where it suddenly slowed down.
Do you think it's possible you overcooked the ejection charge and it snapped the cord?
Well, I was talking about this with David because if that was the case, that would mean the nose cone was coming down like perfectly straight like a bullet, which I guess the shock cord could have been acting like a streamer to help it do so. But it was like coming down impossibly fast for just the nose cone. I don't know. We talked about that for a while, and we landed on who gives an S? It's just gone. So, but of course, this is one of the classic big mistakes. Oh, we did that as an episode for sure, which I think also has a retelling of my 4-inch Punisher. But welcome all the new listeners to the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. You're about to hear this story for the first time. My first 4-inch Punisher, which was the fin can for my level 3 flight. I was flying on an M2050 at Tripoli, Idaho launch, and put it out on the pad, turned the altimeters on, and one of them was beeping, only having the main charge. And instead of taking the rocket down, taking 5 minutes to check it or put a new E-match in there or whatever, I was like, let her ride. It'll be fine. People fly rockets with one altimeter all the time. And then it came in ballistic. But the worst part of that story probably is that my dad was also flying a 4-grain M that weekend. So someone's going to correct me. The M2050's a 3-grain motor. My dad was also flying a 5120 load, we'll say. And so I borrowed Tripoli, Idaho's club case, which was a very lightly used Roustech Blue 75-5120. So I put that in the ground in the desert and never found it. But if any Tripoli, Idaho people are listening and you find that thing, I paid for that new case. So you cannot keep it. I would like it if you find it. Thank you. I think there's a chance my Rocket Man chute is maybe okay down there in the rubble and probably the aero pack. So we'll see. Well, I mean, we probably won't see, but she gone. So yeah. That's all I got for you, I think.
What about the bow mark?
Oh,
and the Arcus.
Was the Arcus? Yeah, the Arcus must have been after episode 6. Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah. Well, I flew the Arcus on an N16,000 that Bryce from Evolution Space made me, and took off at like 150 Gs, and I don't know if it pulled electronics off the board or just like erupted my ejection charges. Because based on the math, 150 Gs on top of the 4-gram charge or whatever, it works out to be like the weight was like a pound. So there's a chance it just like shifted down and just ripped the cords out of the electronics.
Yeah.
Who really knows what happened? But we know for sure that it came in ballistic. Actually, both of those destroyed my last 2 like OG Wildman ComSpec manufactured transmitters, which is unfortunate. No, I actually had one more, and then Matt destroyed it. But what's funny is, unlike Taylor's 3840, Matt ordered me a replacement LL transmitter like the next week.
You got the clout, that's why.
And yeah, the bow mark. The bow mark also awfully bendy for whatever reason. And flew it on an H220 and it tried to bend itself all the way, but the conduit seems to have not let that happen. And then it kind of just plopped on the ground at MDARS and fired the charge right as it hit the ground. And now it's, I don't know where that thing is actually. It might be in the storage unit. It would be fun wall art to put up over here, but I'm just afraid we're going to get like a good earthquake and it's just going to fall on me while I'm sleeping.
Oh, hey, bow mark.
Okay, well, I think that's it for our failure. Should we move on to everyone else's?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me pull up let's go to Discord first. That's the Rocket Vlogs Discord server. All right. Some of these people were like, I was like, what's your biggest failure in rocketry? And they were like, here's tips to avoid failure. I was like, okay, so that's not quite the prompt here, but we're going to let it ride a little bit. Emmy says, always fly a tracker, especially on smaller, thinner rocket, which flies high, even if it's low power. Also check how long your delay is set to. Rip Carrot, my first G-class rocket and my last ever rocket fail so far. Dude, I appreciate the sentiment, but there's no chance I'm packing a tracker on a low power rocket. I like hesitate to do it on, like, when I build my arrow, my $10 arrow. You think I'm gonna take the time to throw a tracker in that thing? Nah, son. Put a G64 in that at Lucerne, and we're just gonna let it ride. What's the smallest, most trivial thing you've?
What if we if we both drag race them on high power motors and just don't put any trackers in them, and just put like a note to return it and see if it comes back by the end of Airfest?
That'd be kind of fun. Or the real drag race is whoever's comes back first. That's how we decide who won.
Recovery drag race. That's awesome.
I really want to leave Matt coughing and then realizing his mic wasn't muted in, because that was hilarious.
What about the part where his mic input changed?
Oh, what? My mic input changed?
Oh, did it not?
No, you can't change it while you're recording.
Oh. He was just
maybe
all of a
sounds
sudden
louder.
really loud for me.
WTF, I don't know what's going on.
You've started talking into it better, I guess. Maybe you just cleared your throat.
Yeah, that's what I did, yeah.
Well, we appreciate the thought on trying to cover the cough up, but we got it anyway.
Thanks.
Okay. Rafe0921 says, if something feels wrong with your recovery system anyway, then don't just go. It will be fine. What could go wrong and not check? Yeah. I see this is the problem, is the advice is good, but we want to know what happened. Polaris says know when it's time to quit. See, that's what I'm saying. It's so vague.
How did everyone do the same thing?
Give us the breakdown. Well, I think they probably just saw the first comment and then everyone rolled with that. Always repack or at least check your chutes before you fly. I've put tape on them to keep them together during transit and forgotten to take it off before. Okay, so at least there was a story on that one. I've not done this personally, but I've seen certain teams where they have a whole 10-page checklist with 4 people supervising and somehow mark off that they've done something when they didn't. I guess the takeaway is know when you're getting go fever and to take a minute and check over what you're doing. It turned into an advice podcast. I don't know what to say.
It's still good to have, I guess.
And something I haven't done, but was like close to a horrible failure. It's one, loading a motor that we ended up not flying, and then like there was 2 different times this happened semi recently. One of them was a couple years ago because I don't do it anymore. But like, you know, the whole loosen the closures thing. But then you forget to tighten them.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I don't really believe in that anymore, so I just leave them cranked.
Yep,
But,
same.
But on Postart's K1000 from that we didn't fly at Airfest, glued it up in the hotel, but he didn't have the O-rings with him. Like somehow they got out of the package or something. I'm not really
Why
sure.
does that happen to us so much?
I don't
Or
know.
maybe he just didn't have the closures or something. I don't
think
know,
I left
but
the inert in the car, maybe. No, that wouldn't make sense.
I think you brought just the grain spacers to glue it up. But anyway, we just threw it in the case with no O-rings or anything. And so
that could go.
Luckily, we
wrong.
like double checked all that before we went to Midwest Power. I was going over everything, and I was like, "Oh man, that would have been horrible." Just instantly torched the whole thing.
Oh,
I mean, it's like the people that were just throwing CTI 38s directly in the rocket there for a long time.
Yeah,
because they're like, "Look, it's single use," and then bam. Except for you need a motor case on those. Okay.
So I feel like on DMS motors, there needs to be some sort of huge like caution message to drill the delay with like diagrams and stuff. So I just feel like when there's like a bunch of college kids doing level 1 certs, a bunch of them will just, or actually the last Argonia launch I went to, there was like 4 rockets in a row, and then they shut them down. That it just came in ballistic.
Oh no! They just not put charges in there?
They just took the motor out of the package and put it straight in the rocket. So not only was the delay not drilled, there was either no powder or they didn't put the little washer in. I don't know which, but
Wow.
regardless, none of them deployed.
What
And they
does
were
the
coming-
little washer do?
So they added the washer because because it's drilled from the front side, it has to have a big hole through the touch hole. And so they're having problems with sometimes the pressure coming out the nozzle instead of deploying the chute. So the
interesting.
washer turns it into a smaller touch hole that will direct the pressure toward the recovery bay.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
originally the DMS motors did not have that, and then they were having problems with rockets coming in ballistic, I think.
Yeah, dude, they should. I mean, I don't know. It's not like it's on Aerotech that people aren't understanding what they're doing, but you can only see 10 Apogee Zephyrs come back with a giant zipper so many times before you're like, all right, well, someone's going to have to spell this out. Neutronium 95 says, my most spectacular failure was my level 3 attempt, which had a motor failure. It was M1780 at LDRS 40.
Clip that.
Fader.
A motor feeder.
Main thing that I learned was if you don't feel the O-rings compress in an Aerotech reload, something is wrong, and don't assume it'll be fine. We've done that a time or two.
Mm.
It worked out though.
I cannot get over my phone call with Carl Bauman from Aerotech about the M2500 on our way to Argonia, where he's just like, yeah, well, grab a couple friends and have one of them hold the motor case and then just tighten that thing down with a strap wrench as best you can. I was like, oh, okay.
What's funny is I've seen people say, do not do that. I always think, I don't know, Carl told us to do that.
Dude, I know. Carl is kind of a loose cannon compared to what people are like, you cannot use Gorilla Glue. You have to use Elmer's Glue All Max, which is discontinued now, by the way. And then in the 5500 video, Carl's like, you can use either one. I like to get the grains a little damp first. I was like, no way. Someone's about to have half a grain sticking out of their $3,000 motor. And he's like, well, the video said.
Yeah.
He continues, that said, I think my worst failure was from my first time at Balls. I flew a Wildman Mach 2 on an experimental K motor. It was configured with cable cutters and redundant altimeters. The up part was great, but it came in ballistic behind the flight line. When I excavated the rocket, it turned out that both the ejection charges fired, but failed to separate the rocket. I had ground tested the charges, but didn't make the backup charge larger. That was a scary lesson on ejection charge sizing. I had the same thing happen with my K455. Both charges were fired when we dug it out of the ground.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
What was so funny over there, Taylor? I have to circle back.
It just reminded me of Airfest years ago when I was walking by and I see someone going up to Tim with like an N5800, and they're like,
oh yeah,
with the grain sticking out of it, stuck, and he's like, what do I do? And Tim just goes, you're effed.
Yeah, I was there too. I think it was
what am I supposed
38.
to do? I thought it was older, or I thought it was before that, but I don't know. It all runs together.
I guess it could have been maybe 2012 or 2014. But I was definitely, I remember that very vividly. I think I remember who it was too, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. Just him just being like, you're effed.
Does the M5800 come with the same adhesive kit as the O3400?
No.
Oh, okay.
Taylor, check the chat. Let's see if we're on the same page here to who I think I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I think that's right.
All right. Yeah, that would have had to have been 2012 or 14 then. Path Touch says the first flight of this 45-pound, 6-inch diameter rocket will be fine, even though the backup altimeter lost continuity at the pad. Yeah. Yeah, I know that one all too well, unfortunately. Looks like it came in ballistic, and then the coupler did some Main failsafe shot a Sur 3XL out of this at like 300 feet per second. Oh, wow. Okay. Dang. I'm not going to show it to you guys just for solidarity with the viewers or the non-viewers that are just listening. So just know that I'm the only one looking at this picture, and Shane and Taylor and Matt are suffering the same way that you are. It's an unpainted fiberglass Wildman tube with a giant zipper down the side with a big piece of Kevlar.
Woof.
Yug S says, never get complacent. When prepping my last 2-stage for its first launch attempt, we were essentially skimming the checklist instead of going line by line. As a result, once vertical, the booster ended up being armed prior to the sustainer being placed on top. Once we checked the boot continuity on the booster's charges, we continued stacking. We were going off a 50-foot rail, so my best friend was up in the truss on the rail prepping, put the sustainer on the booster while I stayed on the ground helping align the sustainer with the coupler. As I checked the continuity, the Featherweight app was still open on my phone. Inadvertently, my thumb triggered a charge test on the booster's ejectant charge, which went off in my best friend's face. Luckily, the ISC barely missed her and no one was hurt. As a result, we rewrote all the ops before a successful flight.
Oof. Sorry, bestie.
Good God.
Oh, man, that's scary.
Dude, I've thought about that, how the continuity page on the Featherweight app also has the test button on there. Like, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do this on accident, like, while it's in my hand. But I've had that exact, like, nightmare thought before, where you just, like, forget to, like, lock the phone screen and boom goes the dynamite.
Wolf.
David Belia says, our Argonia Cup flight. Oh, what?
Well, just we forgot about our 2-stage failure.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. David Belia says our Argonia Cup flight from 2025 had all the parachutes fail to deploy for the booster and sustainer in lawn dart both stages. After digging out the remnants of all 6 primary and backup charges between the two stages fired, and all fired and had charged BP and spent E matches. Charred BP. Each charge was 3 grams of 4F in a 54mm 10-inch parachute compartment. Fluctus RRC2, RRC3 plus and plus. We had good GPS connection and comms till about 300 feet on descent, and it showed that it fired charges. The best idea what happened is we were using 1 shear pin only on each coupler, and it may have racked a bit and gotten stuck when ejecting because of only having 1 pin instead of 2 or 3. However, if anyone else has any better input on what could have happened, we're all ears. Oh, this is the one I think that had a full sleeve of brand new Titleist Pro V1s in it.
Oh.
I was like, man, you're crazy for that. Those golf balls are $4 a piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I saw the rock, like we were there for that flight, but I got nothing as to why it came in ballistic unless you just burned all the like blue BP everywhere instead of burning it all, depending on how the charges were set up. That's what happened with my K455. Paul Welch says, pay attention where you tape a camera onto your rocket. Mine was taped over the av base seams and prevented proper chute deployment. Fortunately, it was light enough and beefy enough to survive a rough landing, but it was kind of terrifying until I recovered it. Path Touch says, semi-related. The first time I went to do twist and tape, I taped the leads to the fin can below the switch band. Jerk charge would have ripped the leads out. Luckily, my body at the pad caught it. I've done that before.
Matt hasn't done that.
I've tried, but Braden said, you probably don't do that.
I do remember that. I was like, no, listen, actually, but I was speaking from experience because I did it, but I just got lucky that instead of pulling the wires out of the altimeters when it fired, it just like ripped the tape off and took the wires with it, with the electronics bay. Taylor, you want to recount the 2-stage real quick while I pull up the Patreon input?
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on a year anniversary of Braden and I's perfect 2-stage flight.
It was awesome. 2 stages are super easy.
Yeah, minimum diameter M2050 to K375, and hilarious. Well, I built the booster. He built the sustainer halfway across the country, and then decided to make it all work at the end, and everything actually worked perfect. But we overlooked the nose cone looked super dry and cratered, and we're pretty sure it just disintegrated.
Dude, I dug out the picture of that nose cone to show somebody when we were talking about this. And I was like, my God, why did we not just buy another one? We're like,
It's
nah,
so
dude, we're already
bad.
too deep in this project to spend another $28.
Didn't you also miscalculate how fast it was gonna go?
Yeah, Taylor wants to
Slightly.
leave that
By
one
like a
out
full mock.
conveniently. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
like, would it have even made? No, I thought it was going to go Mach 2, but it actually went. Well, I redid the sim and it was saying like Mach 2.4 or something.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it wasn't a nose cone worth giving a shot to go that fast, but
That nose cone didn't really want to go much past Mach, I don't think.
yeah, I don't think so either. It was so bad. Okay. We've got a really big one in here, so we're going to blast through these first ones. Liam says, I've never had a high power failure, but I do have the biggest failure in mid power. I had just gotten the Estes Pro Series 2 Nike Smoke for my birthday. I built it in a day, then proceeded to paint it for about 11 days, painting and make everything perfect. Waited about a month and TCR launch comes up. Drive 25 minutes to the range and we fly it. Goes up about 300 feet on E16-8 and then arcs over and starts coming in ballistic right before it hits the ground. Puff of smoke they didn't realize at the time. And thump, there goes my brand new kit. I was pretty hurt about that one and just went home. Turns out I didn't cross-check the delay on the kit's box and the delay on the motor, so the delay ended up being double what was needed. Yeah, I was going to say -8 is quite long for that rocket on that motor. Dude, I just got another Pro Series 2 Nike Smoke because they were out of stock on the Estes website. Oh, that's a failure I had. Although I'm not blaming me, I'm blaming Aerotech for the stupid sticker on the stupid DMS motors. I'm still so mad, dude. That was the day I had the Beaumark ready to fly at Lucerne, and then that's when I realized it was so bendy that it wouldn't go on a rail. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll just fly the Nike Smoke then. And then the stupid sticker on the stupid H195 that I stupid bought for $10 made it so tight in the motor tube on the Nike Smoke that it got stuck. And I could tell when I started pulling on the motor case that it was going to ruin the rocket. So I just like didn't say anything to anyone and just like put everything back in my car and drove home. Someone texted me, they're like, hey, did you fly? Are you getting your rocket? And I just replied, I was like, no. And then just didn't say anything after that. Got home. They had to rip half the motor tube out with the stupid DMS motor with the stupid sticker on the side. So
And
S
then
has had
Braden
them.
called me and vented for an hour and a half.
Dude, I was so mad. I was like, can't even fly mid-power rockets, basically. 229mm H's? Too much work for me. Can't handle that. What do I know? I flew an N1000 Mach 2 and 47,000 feet, but the H195 is beyond my skill level, evidently. That was a bad time. Anyway, so I was going to get another one. Estes was sold out. They're not sold out now, by the way. Use discount code ZWW10 for 10% off. Big news coming on the Estes front. I'll talk about that when I can, though. Anyway, yeah, that was stupid. Brian Kelsey says, my minimum diameter laser lock sim to Mach 1 for a real short time on an H100. I think it folded in half. Someone found it and couple looks like it failed. Coupler looks like it failed. Possibly had early ejection that caused the failure. Nose cone beat up one of the fins. Yeah, there had to be something else going on. There's no world I see that thing shredding on an H100. Doesn't that seem insane?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that should happen.
Okay, Colin Brum says, I haven't had any truly serious high power failures, but I've had a couple minor ones. One was my first flight using shear pins on my first dual deploy flight. I wasn't worried about air pressure differential since I wasn't going that high or fast, so I used single shear pins on each separation point just to keep everything in place. I had tested both parts to make sure they would separate, but not in the way that would tell me the drogue separation had enough force to break both shear pins and pop the main at apogee. Shane has experience with that.
Yeah.
After addressing that issue, my next flight was my second electronics flight. Same rocket, but intentionally doing single deployment at Apogee, gather data on my chute. Turns out I didn't have enough holding my battery in place, even though it worked on the first flight. When the ejection charge went off, the battery slid off the sled and disconnected. Chute deployed, but no data. TLDR is don't half A it, full A it, or don't A it at all. And if it ain't broke, you can still fix it.
Dude, one time I recovered a rocket and there was just a bunch of rattling in the electronics bay. And when I get back to the flight line, take it apart, my battery was just loosey goosey in there, hanging by the wires.
Wow.
You got to put the popsicle stick, the block plate, dude. That's the dream combo. The block plate and the electrical tape.
How does it work?
Oh, I just glue a popsicle stick to the very bottom. So there's a little lip for the batteries to sit against. That way they can't slide down out of the tape. Rod Thomas says, I built an SS Saturn V to fly on 5D engines. I've been successfully flying a rocket with a 5D motor cluster, so I figured my Saturn would be great with 3 E motors and 2 D motors. All that way to the bottom of the rocket destroyed its stability. It twisted madly around and plowed into the ground inches from my 10-year-old son. It was totaled on its first flight. That's tough. Brian Clark, using Loctite marine epoxy for fillets. It doesn't sag, has a good pot life, and comes out smooth as glass. Turns out something made for marine applications isn't also made to fly hundreds of miles an hour or hit the ground at 15 feet per second. Bad news about what West System epoxy is for, but we'll go on. Needless to say, it cracked in all the different ways. Nothing completely came apart, but my Wildman V2 fins feel like loose teeth now, and I don't know if I'll ever try to fix it because I did an internal fillets as well. No water damage, though. It's you had a loose tooth fin on your 4-inch Punisher, didn't you, Taylor?
What do you mean?
Wasn't there one that was like it seemed like it had broken loose from the motor tube?
Well, I never confirmed that. It made a little bit of a noise when you pushed on
Yeah,
the
it was
fan,
like
but it
clicky
didn't.
when you.
It was a
Yeah.
little clicky, yeah. But no, it wasn't really like loose teeth. I don't know. It survived the M3700 Kato, and I'm gonna fix it and try flying it again. So
We flew it on an M1830 after you showed me that, and it took that too. So
yeah,
you're like, this seems weird,
seems
right?
fine.
Oh well.
yeah. It seems happy. So
Bayou Rat Aerospace and Rocketry says, my 75 6000 Blue Motor disaster. I had returned home from a trip to South America and the Galapagos Islands, and upon return, I packed up and went to Airfest. I had made the motor months before and never thought to review my notes. My KN was off by 100, so boom went the motor.
Oh.
That's quite substantial. There's pictures of it in the Discord server if anyone cares to check them out under the podcast topics of discussion, your failures one. Kevin Osler. My failures have been so numerous over the years, sometimes I think I am cursed. My worst failure was a tiny Estes Spaceship 1 that lost a fin on takeoff. It landed about 50 feet from the pad and blew its ejection charge into the dry grass. Luckily, I got to it right as it blew, which produced a small grass fire. I was able to easily step on it, but I still think about it every time I push the button. This had a fundamental impact on when and what I fly. Do you remember that one podcast we ended with a story about the guy that started like a huge multi-alarm fire?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Nick Pertel, my first minimum diameter, crammed an oversized chute in a 54mm airframe. And remember the LCO said, oh man, main at 400. That's ambitious. I laughed. He laughed. Then I thought to myself, my God, man, that probably is ambitious now that he mentions it. Anyway, we launch. Beautiful upsync winds on a K-1275. Disappeared in the blue sky in a fraction of the time I had invested into it. Tracked with the Missile Works tracker for a suspiciously similar amount of time for it to have it hit apogee and then hit bedrock. At that point, I just hit the SpongeBob. Eyed on my head out. Peter Waite says, my biggest failure was when first used the drill tool to drill the delay for a G61. I thought it was drilled correctly, and it was not. LDRS 42, I flew that G61 and proceeded to put an out-of-production kit into the ground. Come to find out, I misread the instructions and should have drilled the delay before inserting it into the forward closure. I learned from this and haven't made that mistake again. Rest in peace to the Gila monster. Dang.
Ooh.
Luckily, I do have a picture before its fateful flight.
If that's the BSD one, like probably 5 of those were ever made.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. Okay. Our final one, and possibly, new word again. Possibly the most recent failure of anyone in the Rocket Vlogs extended universe. Eric Beavers writes, the demise of my 6-inch Punisher. This was his level 3 rocket. He says, all right, get ready, folks, strap in. He was like, I wrote a novel. He messaged me about this. I would assume most people in this hobby are like me in many ways, dedicated to the pursuit of rocket glory, flying fast, high, huge, or any combination of these things. Wanting the respect of fellow Rocketeers and Taylor, blissfully going through life assuming we know more than anyone else, particularly when it comes to adhesives, avionics, and the correct way to tie a knot in tubular Kevlar. Of course, it's also a good way to meet girls. Yeah. In these endeavors, occasionally we wind up with a rocket that is more than the sum of its parts. It's something that defines the Rocketeer and gives a warm, fuzzy feeling as we are drifting off to sleep on a Saturday night, and the favorite subject matter to discuss while connecting with old friends. You get the idea. For me, it was my 6-inch Punisher that was gratifyingly purchased from the wild man himself for my level 3 attempt exchange for a week's salary. Let me tell you about how marvelous this piece of space-age fiberglass kit was. I hate the finality of was, but it's the only true way to speak on this matter. Since the birth of modern high-power rocketry, a more perfectly blended set of external fillets has never been blended. No vacuum degassing process has ever been so thoroughly degassed. The strong but light internals was something only the supreme being who occasionally goes by the moniker Rocket could achieve. Oh, wow. Thank you. I.e., it's the rocket that we, the discerning of us of a rocketry parade, shall I say, the impermanent propellant aficionados fantasize about. Okay, it might not have been that good, but I was really proud of myself, and it was a damn fine rocket. This rocket, which has gone by too many names to mention this brief Patreon dispatch, first flew with the extreme fury and insatiable appetite for altitude on a warm, humid, and sunny Kansas day in late August 2024. Many photos were taken, innumerable high fives were enjoyed, and it realized the ultimate objective, landing safely in a condition which was satisfactory to deliver upon to me, a dedicated amateur rocketry enthusiast, the coveted red stripe of honor. It then followed, for those who don't understand that, the third stripe on an Airfest badge is red to indicate that you're level 3 certified. It then followed up this triumph later that year at an ancient dry lake bed somewhere between Reno and the armpit of America. It proved its worthiness by shrugging off the brutal red impulse of a second worst 98-15-360 reload ever conceived. It subsequently devoured additional amalgamations of rubber and chemicals that are as alien to me as the moons of Pluto and bear no discernible name. On a fateful day, barely a fortnight ago, my friend, a respected recovery maestro, came to me with an idea. Eric, he said, I have an idea. We had concocted a parachute design. It looked like others, but this one was garbed in a thin blanket of sewn Nomex, expertly affixed to a silky pilot, and came in a brilliant pattern of orange and white livery. If only we had known at the time that this creation was too beautiful to exist in this insufferable world, we might have changed course, or maybe not. But the assignment was clear. We needed a rotund, heavy rocket that was capable of adequately testing such an important amenity. So out of the stable came my beloved. Not only would my darling not let us down, I thought, but it was also and shall forever be the only qualified rocket for such a chore. Anyways, if your electronics aren't beeping when they're supposed to be beeping, don't justify it just because Bluetooth suggests you're ready to go. Take the damn thing off the pad and fly another day.
Wow. Oh, no. Man.
Beautifully written.
Yeah, that was
Dude,
well done.
yeah, everyone talks about, Shakespeare and George Orwell, if you will.
George Binks as well.
Yeah. But Eric Beavers.
Truly,
Bring a tear to our eyes.
I mean, putting me to shame as the guy who pays me to do a lot of writing, I feel inadequate at best right now.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately came in ballistic. Yeah, I don't know. He said that all the continuity and everything showed correct on the featherweight app, but here we are with a 6-inch Punisher shaped hole in his heart. Wow.
So sad.
Well, we didn't have any input from the Patreon for this podcast. Those were all from the Rocket Vlogs Patreon, which is interesting. So if you want your voice to be heard and you want to help support the show and help support our rockets flying, go to patreon.com/AGGpod. Anything else, folks? I think that's all we got.
I
I don't think we're not gonna have any more failures from this point on, right?
Oh, Matt just jinxed himself. He's having the first one of the year.
Matt's going to have a crazy failure.
Oh
5-inch demons pulling the round 2.
no!
Oh my god.
Then
No.
I'll do it with my 6-inch one right after, dude. Airfest is going to be HE double toothpicks.
She double toothpicks.
All right. Well, my name is Braden Garles, and you can find me right here on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs. You can follow me on Instagram at Rocket Vlogs Official or on Facebook at Rocket Vlogs Official. Follow my personal Facebook account as well. It's almost to 100,000 followers. And anytime you see me post a rocket video, share the S out of it, dude. Just absolutely post that in every group you can find. No, I'm just kidding. If you do see a video that's particularly exciting to you, press the share button because Facebook has monetized my personal account and we're going to just keep riding it out so we can keep doing dumb rocket stuff forever. Also, tell a friend about the Anti-Gravity Group podcast if you're listening or watching. Tell 2 friends. Tell 10. I don't know, but let's bump these numbers up, folks. We want every rocket person. Could you imagine? That'd be insane. All right, that's enough. I'm out of here.
My name's Taylor. You can find me on YouTube at the Rocket Channel. And yeah, check the Anti-Gravity Group Patreon for more actual updates on what I'm working on.
Hercules? Hercules updates?
soon? Yes.
My name is Shane. You can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions and online at hprtools.com.
And I'm Matthew, and you can find me right here.
Oh, also follow the Anti-Gravity Group page on Facebook. We need to be better about updating that, but yeah, go give that a follow. We are the Anti-Gravity Group. This is the Anti-Gravity Group podcast, and we will see you all next time.
We might just hear from Nigel the Rocket Cat. Load up the professional masterpiece, you can bet on that. A launch and a chat with them is guaranteed to be a blast. It's the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Ooh, ooh, ooh.